All right, so take like fucking 5 of trying to do rock and you said it was rock analysis request, right?
Yeah, it's technically take 2, but
Take 5 of rock analysis request for Can Virgil defeat Elden Ring, made by a YouTuber. What's the name of the YouTuber? Do you have a full screen or no?
Thundergod. Wow.
Thundergod. Perfect. So, as you might have noticed, we're 2 minutes and 40 seconds into the video. That's because it's been a long, grueling journey past those 2 minutes and 40 seconds due to technical issues. So, to summarize what came up earlier, he's using canonical things for Vergil, but not POC specifically. And I don't think he covered
Punishing
anything in
Grey
Elden Ring.
Raven.
What?
Punishing Grey Raven is being shown in the video. So
Yes, he showed
that
punishing
is
Great
that is
Raven
considered
footage.
valid, but not the actual official Devil May Cry
Mobile game.
sequel that takes place in the universe.
So if we see no POC content, that'll be hilarious. But that's currently the situation. Virgil has made it to Godric. It was a tough battle. I'm sure we were all holding our breath on that one. And now let's continue.
To establish a bit of scaling for these characters, or Elden Ring characters in general, we do have confident lightning timer feats, as Death Knight's Royal Guards of the Demigod Godwin have a unique skill called Blink Bolt, or Shunrai in the original Japanese. The skill represents a lightning speed transmutation burst where they become lightning itself, essentially.
From a low stance, user transforms themselves into lightning and moves forward at high speed with a skill strong attack. Can we follow with the well-timed leaping slash? Okay, guys, this is an official. You can just use the official translation. You don't need a Japanese raw.
Yeah, I don't know why they need to do this.
That's translated
It
globally.
doesn't provide a unique piece of information. It's the same statement in the English version. Stop being such a Japanese LARPer, guys. You can't even read the language.
Like if the Japanese only said it and the English didn't, that would be a different story. But if they're both saying they turn into lightning, then just fucking use
Or
the
if you're
translation.
translating something that didn't have an official translation, that would make sense because you just want to see what it says.
Yes.
But like you know what it says. So just use it.
It's not a big deal, just very weird. You don't need the raws for a globally released game.
Becoming a straight traveling lightning bolt and rematerializing at the end, attacking, being a lightning timer for burst-like stages. Furthermore, we see the Dragon Lord Placidusax. He enters an intangible state called a.
Hold on. That's weird. I paused at 308.
Yeah, no, I hear it. I actually just muted mine and I just put on closed captions. That seems to work.
That might be a good idea, but okay, that's weird. Let's continue. Let me just
Thundercloud form.
This looks kind of blurry, the skin that he used.
It is because it is blurry because it's from the guidebook. I'm not gonna talk shit. I'm not gonna talk shit. My phone's pictures are usually not blurry, but I'm not gonna say anything about pictures. I would be curious if
I'm not saying Victory Took is bad. I'm just saying it's a little weird because usually they show up well, but maybe the picture didn't render effectively. I've had that happen before though. It is kind of annoying.
Yeah. All right. So what's his argument here?
Viewed with primeval lightning and moves with the velocity and motion of the Stormfront. In some instances, he just straight up teleports. Based on the dragons beneath him.
Wait, where does it say that?
We see the Dragon Lord Placidusax. He enters an intangible state called the Thundercloud form, where he turns into a mist imbued with primeval lightning and moves with the velocity and motion of the Stormfront. In some instances, he just straight up teleports. Based on the dragons beneath him reacting to primeval lightning in the game and story trailer, and Placidusax being above most of them, it would entail that he can move at those standard feats or upscales from them. I wouldn't put this as anywhere.
Okay, so regarding the dragons reacting to the lightning, unless he's catching that lightning bolt naturally, we would assume the lightning's supposed to go to his hand.
Yeah, you would assume the lightning is being summoned to his hand because when you actually see Placidusax, when you see his boss fight, the specific way he calls lightning on you is that he will roar with like his second head, and then lightning will start coming down in various areas around him. It just gets summoned on command. I'm not saying he's not that fast. I'm pretty sure he's way faster than lightning. I believe there are FTL feats pretty consistently in Elden Ring that all the characters scale to. I'm just saying that that lightning bolt in particular, he's not really reacting to it. It's just coming to his hand. His lightning is just controlled by him on command.
It would entail that he can move at those things.
He's also not really catching the lightning. It looks like the lightning's arcing down to go to his hand.
Standard feats or up.
Yeah.
It looks like a Zeus thing where it's like,
Scales from them.
come to me, Master Bolt.
Yeah.
This as anywhere near a cap out for the Elden Ring universe, obviously, as we have light speed showings, enemies called the Miranda.
Okay, we got light speed.
Oh, and now he's talking about the Miranda
the incantation aspects
flowers.
of Crucible Bloom, which notes.
Aspect of Crucible. Oh, are you sure you don't want the Japanese raw up here, sir?
Creates a Miranda flower on one's chest before calling down a rate of light. For the sake of discussion, assuming that Godric upscales all of this, which may be generous, but we'll just do it for the sake of discussion, how does Vergil deal with this? Vergil's arsenal is extremely suited to the universe of Elden Ring, as his infamous katana, the Yamato, imbued with the power of Sparta himself, is noted to cut the fabric of space-time itself. The DMC Special Edition website also notes its keen edge can slice through dimensions themselves, or Nico's notes which note it can cut space itself. This type of weapon will be extremely effective on Godric and subsequent demigods that Vergil will face, on top of the fact that he will utilize Beowulf, which is noted to be imbued with the power of light and can unleash immeasurable power. On top of just utilizing light on a baseline, Vergil also should upscale from other characters that just use light or react directly to light. An example being Artemis, who Neuro defeats, who is noted to be wielding light as a weapon, which is displayed in the actual boss fight, or something like Dante reacting and dodging Mundus's particle beam. Particle beams travel usually at 99.997 the speed of light. These are just a few of the very casual feats or light speed scaling for Devil May Cry. However, Vergil's higher ends would make it so that in terms of speed, he wouldn't really be challenged or have any difficulty with anybody in Elden Ring, as, for example, you have Mundus creating his own universe or own space and Dante traversing it, which at the absolute lowest calculation has these characters moving 800 times faster than light, and higher end interpretations, if it's a solar system, has these characters moving 234 billion times faster than light, or if you interpret Mundus actually creating his own universe here, it would be something closer to 667 quadrillion times faster than light. This is all to say, speed is not going to be the issue for Vergil in this discussion.
Didn't he say that Mundus created the universe, though, at the start?
Yeah.
Okay.
But since he hasn't mentioned it here at this point, I will go ahead and mention it. It's directly stated in the guidebook for that, for Keito Shinto, under his descriptions. Or no, under the memorial album, the DMC1 memorial album, when you translate Mission 22, I believe, Legendary Battle, and you get the translation for it, it's just stated that when he creates the Emperor Space Heaven, he just creates an endless dark sky, or an infinite dark sky. So the area that he's creating is just an infinite-sized universe.
Yeah.
So it's crossing that would actually just be like infinite, not FTL.
All right. Let us continue.
It's not something that he's really going to struggle with, and he really won't be getting blitzed, or any of these Elden Ring characters are going to be moving so fast that he really wouldn't be able to compete with them. You could
so much PGR footage.
That's wild.
Was quite frankly going to be giving Godric the Beowulf treatment. He's going to get split in two by the Yamato with no difficulty. Now, in order to actually
why do we have to abuse Godric like this? He has done nothing wrong other than graph people.
Scaling as a whole, we need a reference point for Elden Ring characters. I will be using Star Scourge Radahn, son of Radagon and conqueror of the stars. Radahn is shown to be extremely impressive holding the stars themselves. When Stellan explains to Tarnish Radahn's holding the stars, she specifically says General Radahn challenged the swirling constellations. However, the term swirling constellation isn't present in the Japanese version. It actually does just translate to falling star. So Radahn should legitimately scale to this.
Why is he using this? It's literally shown in the game that he's holding the stars. You don't need a Japanese translation for this.
Okay, so I paused it at 6:12. Okay, guys, I'm just gonna say something here that, I mean, we all agree on this one, but like, these are the official translations. This is what the official company said is what's supposed to be there.
You also have the guidebook. You also have the cutscene where when Radahn dies, all of the stars come flying across the night sky, and it's directly stated in his descriptions that he holds them up, and he has gravity magic.
Also,
how much more do you need?
Also, to be fair, I feel like the cutscene itself also is just a better indicator than some random guy telling you what Radahn is doing.
It is, because... well, just the game in general is a better indicator than one JP description, because a preponderance of evidence is superior to this. Because this example of using the original language is just meant as a one scan by scan note to provide more validity, but that's not how you. I'm just saying that's not how you prove a case. Like you don't need this. It's not necessary, and you shouldn't. You probably shouldn't be using it. Just use the official.
Continue.
And does quite literally stop stars. This is further pushed with other star beasts like Askel Naturalborn of the Void, whose unique skill Nebula imbues magic into the star layer of the Bastard.
Imbues magic into the star layer of the Bastard.
And with a shooting attack produces a Nebula.
Alright, but what's the star layer here? Because if this is the Bastard in question, then what would the star layer mean?
Of darkness. With Askel's wing having a similar sentiment, unique skill Nebula imbues magic
into the delicate wings of the Bastard, produces a swift cloud nebula of darkness.
To the delicate wings of the Bastard.
It would make more sense if you used the English one.
Nebula of darkness in front. Nebulae in general are vast clouds of gas and dust.
Wait. So to be clear, is he not Is he not using the official English translation? He's just translating the raw and then putting the translation down.
You're cutting out.
Okay. Are you telling me that he's just translating the raw on the screen?
Presumably, yeah. I mean, that's kind of how you make a translation.
You're probably right. I don't know why, but for some reason I thought he was using the official translation at the bottom. It wasn't until you just said that I realized that he's just translating the raw.
You keep cutting out for me.
In front.
That's fine.
In general are vast clouds of gas and dust in space and are often the sites of star formation. These clouds are also important in the life cycle of stars, acting as both stellar nurseries and the remnants of dying stars. To further cement this idea, when looking at glintstone sorcery as a whole, still in the localized version of the game notes that glintstone are the amber of the cosmos. However, the actual translation or the actual kanji used refers to glintstone as the amber of the stars, not the cosmos. This is all to say, Radahn halting the star.
Okay. I paused it at amber of the cosmos versus amber of the stars. So,
yes.
So he refers to the Elden Ring game as the localization of the game, but it's also the official English translation. I don't understand.
Those aren't mutually exclusive. Like the official translation is the highest thing you have in the game. Anything less is inferior.
I don't understand why power scalers have this massive fucking hard-on to just ignore the official translated works. Unless you can prove the official translation is wrong, you would assume the official translation / localization is the intended meaning of the sentence. Especially because, like myself, I'm sure most of these guys do not speak and read Japanese who do this. They probably use Google Translate and stuff like I do to get translations done.
They probably can't do a better translation than the official translators. Just saying.
It's just weird.
There's no mark against this guy. That's a mark against the standard in the community of people thinking they need to use it like it's like the language of God or something.
Especially
like if you just get it, you'll have instantaneous clarity. How? Just another language, guys.
Dude, come on. That's what they do it for. Amber of the Cosmos and Amber of the Stars both indicate cosmic space situations. It's not a big deal.
Blatantly shown to us is not hyperbolic by any means.
Also, there's better feats technically, or better things that upscale higher. Like just using one translation for the same piece of information is useless.
Well, so to be fair, or the way he's doing it is he's establishing a basis for each tier he's at. And then presumably it'll be the same going forward.
On top of just being blatantly shown to us is not hyperbolic by any means. This perspective is extremely relevant not for just discussing Godric, but these other demigods, as the Starscrewer's heirloom, which is a talisman, describes Radahn as the mightiest hero of the demigods. We'll touch more on this in a moment. How does Vergil stack?
I'm actually going to give a hot take here and say the other demigods might not even scale to Radahn, with the exception of maybe Melania. And even then, I'm kind of like a little iffy there.
Melania's weird because they make it very clear that she fights him with the Scarlet Rot, and that's like half the reason he's lost.
The only reason he loses is because she fucking nukes the fucking continent with Scarlet Rot. So like, I'm not even sure if you can say she scales to him. To be honest, he's just the strongest. How far they downscale is up in the air.
I found that funny because he brings up the official translation and he shows one of the talismans and it literally says that he's challenging the very stars themselves. I'm like, yeah, that's the statement you need. There you go.
There you go. It's almost like it's in the official game. It's just weird because, like, again, if you bring up a Japanese guidebook or something, that's fine. There's no English translation, but we have the fucking game, and the statements are in the English version of the game.
No.
It's
all
just
right, moving on.
Well, to kind of understand this, we need to understand how Devil May Cry as a universe functions.
Oh, dude, I'm so tempted. Hang on, I got a commercial. And there we go.
May Cry, the human world and demon world were initially a unified dimension that had been split apart by Pluto, the demon king who preceded Mundus. This being the demon Dante defeated in DMC1.
This is not the official translation.
Actually,
the official translation says something different. It's
Okay,
actually more complete and in more detail. And actually, if you translate most of the original, the official translation has more details and more information that are included to add more context.
Nope, never. To be clear again, regarding Pluto, we technically don't know if Pluto split the demon world. I don't think that's ever been confirmed. I don't even think POC
it is
confirmed
in 1. It's confirmed in 1 because it's directly stated in the description that Pluto is the one that separates the heavens and the earth.
No, because the description is talking about the Day of Judgment when Pluto comes back to do that. Because you're talking about the prophecy thing, right? The prophecy in the library?
Yes, but it still confirms he did it regardless. Also, Pluto in the new game also still has the same spear which controls time space.
Well, here's the thing. We're not using POC. So there is no Pluto.
Oh, that's right. My bad. My apologies.
Later on, with other
not allowed to use canon games.
Worlds or attempting to. This is relevant due to how the demon world and the human world are both noted to be their own universes. In DMC3, we learned that the demon world has its own space-time continuum, as shown with the Samsar, with the demon world also.
Yes, but the Samsar basically confirms there's multiple space-times because you have to use it to fix the rifts.
So the context for that statement is that when you're in the nirvanas, each one of them is their own space-time continuum. So
also,
the demon world isn't a universe, it's a multiverse.
Also, can I just ask the question on the table? Why is it that Elden Ring gets nothing but Japanese RAWs, but DMC is getting the official English localizations, which actually have had
no. DMC technically is getting a Japanese RAW right there. But it is mostly getting official translations. Yes, you're correct.
Well, yeah, like I'm just confused because why is it that like we're not getting the Japanese RAW plus the machine translation here? Why is Elden Ring getting that treatment?
Time apart from the human world. The original world predating the split
was... Okay, so hold on. The mirror world is, I believe, where he is in that scene. I could be wrong about that. Oh,
wait, how?
Stated to be
okay, so at 756.
Also having a...
How far did you go, Zim?
I'm at 756 right now.
Wait, hang on.
If I'm not mistaken, is he in the mirror world in that scene, or? Oh no, this is still the human world.
Hang on, something's wrong with the mic.
Okay, no. That's the human world. Yeah, that's, I believe, the king of the castle or the lord of the castle recollecting how time passes weirdly because of the demon world's influence. It's been a while since I've had to really remember some of my DMC knowledge, so I'm a little rusty, just a tad bit rusty.
I'm back.
All right, you back with us? Yeah, no. It's just the Lord of the Manor talking about time passing weirdly because of the demon world.
Predating the split was stated to be.
Wait, where, what timestamp? I didn't hear it because it cut out.
756, but now I'm on 802.
Okay. Hang on.
Yeah, now it's just showing the manga panel.
Infinite and endless darkness with the demon.
Oh yeah, this is the official translation.
As endless and having an endless.
The height between the edges of the sea and the underworld, they wade stray, endless sea.
This is all relevant due to not only Vergil upscaling from these characters who are fusing or splitting apart two entirely separate universes, but also upscaling from things. things like Nightmare, which is V's familiar used in DMC5. Originally a boss from DMC1, which is what V's familiars are, Nightmare is noted to have power that could lay waste to the demon world, to the extent that the demon emperor Mundus feared it so much so that he bound and restrained the very power he supposedly sought. Keep in mind that the familiars are just outright weaker than Dante himself, who just beats all three, along with V himself just being Vergil's human half, who again is far weaker than Vergil himself. Keep in mind this also doesn't get into Mundus himself creating an entire universe in Devil.
I guess to be clear, the demon world has multiple statements of infinite and endless, so it's not necessarily two universes, and that's not including the space times within the demon
May
world.
Cry 1, which can be a bit contentious. However, I do think there is something to Mundus' strength, as Mundus' defeat causes the collapse of the demon world, which is only stopped by Dante sealing him. The demon world, like we just previously
I feel like
it's only contentious to people who are like dishonest or lying.
Yeah,
it's
I
very
was
clear
gonna
he created a universe.
I was gonna say we have the Twitter statement, but even if like you think the Twitter statement itself isn't good enough, DMC has multiple universal level feats to the point where there's no reason to deny Mundus creating that realm. And even if you don't believe it's the size of a universe,
fact-
as Mangler pointed out, there's an endless and infinite statement for that realm if you don't want to call it a universe.
That's not even the only statement for that area in that source. The Memorial album had another statement early in the mission for that area, the throne room where he's talking to Dante, for it being separated from the flow of time. He's already in his own space-time continuum that's separated from all the time flows in the demon world. So I'm not ranting on this guy, I'm just pointing out, like, in general, one source for that mission gives two separate statements you can use for proving he created his own universe. That's completely separate from the entire of time in the demon world.
All right,
Aside from it just collapsing.
let us continue.
established is its own universe and has its own space-time continuum. Vergil would obviously scale off all of this as Urizen, Vergil's demon half, was able to defeat Dante at the beginning of DMC5. Dante would go on to get massively amped from the Qliphoth itself during the month he was knocked out, absorb two-thirds of Sparta's power as Sparta dispersed his power into 3 swords. Dante absorbs the Rebellion and Sparta, defeat Urizen would eat the Qliphoth fruit, which is a massive amp as we previously established. Mundus used it to become king of the underworld, with Dante defeating Urizen in base if you go off the in-game cutscene, and then Urizen fusing.
Okay, hold on. No, you don't.
That was, hang on, pretty quick there. It was pretty quick. He said it there. So if you go by the game's cutscene, beats him in base. That's not true. We see in the manga he's actually fighting. Well, he does land the finishing blow in base. The fight is conducted in Sin DT, based on what Visions of E's manga shows.
Not only that, I'm pretty sure the dialogue for the boss fight kind of correlates with that supporting evidence that you would have to I mean, so you can technically beat him in base in game, but you also get dialogue for using Sin DT. Kind of like you were supposed to do that. But Visions of E
and Dante specifically says this is no time to hold back, Vergil. It implies he's not holding back either.
Yeah, I'm kind of a little surprised that he uses Visions of V images, but he doesn't point out that Visions of V has Sin DT fighting this form, if I'm not mistaken.
With V to return to Vergil, who is a direct rival to Dante at the end of DMC5. So Vergil massively upscales from all of this, and at the absolute lowest interpretation just has universal scaling. This is all to say Radon's star to large star level scaling doesn't...
Also, can I just say I love how Argosax isn't mentioned at all for supporting evidence in this entire video about fucking Universal DMC, despite the fact that Argosax was carrying Universal DMC for most people for like years. That's
really
wild.
Mean much in terms of Vergil's strength or what he'd be able to deal with. And even if Vergil were pressured for whatever reason, he could just don his Sin Devil Trigger form, which is really just going to be putting him an entire tier above what he is before, but that's only if somebody ever pressures Vergil in base. This puts Vergil in great standing to absolutely no-sell the likes of Rykard, Lord of Blasphemy, who he really shouldn't struggle with from an arsenal perspective, and if Vergil needs extra support against any of these bosses, he can just create a doppelganger in a summon-like fashion. Like, you know when someone uses a Mimic tier in Elden Ring? It's basically that. Even though Rykard doesn't offer too much resistance to Vergil, in my opinion, I think someone like Moog, the Lord of Blood, could be threatening in some aspects. This is is mainly due to his Blood Boon, an incantation from Mohg where he essentially scatters the blood of the Outer God, the Formless Mother, at you. When you think of the Outer Gods in Elden Ring, I want you to think of something akin to the Primordials from God of War, in that they don't appear to manifest physical forms within the lands between, and instead influence the events in the lands between in kind of roundabout ways. These Outer Gods far surpass anything actually happening in the base game, and thus makes this a bit threatening to the likes of Vergil, but considering this is the only thing he would have to look out for, and Vergil does have ways to fight without actually getting tagged by this specific blood attack, I think it's safe to say he could work around this, whether by leading with his doppelganger, using Mirage
Hang
Swords that
on,
he could...
Zen.
All
Could
right.
you hear me before, or
I could.
am I?
If you were talking the whole time, I could not hear you.
Yeah.
We have moved forward to 11:13. He had just gone past Rykard.
11:13.
Well, so he was
Because
talking
at
about
10:30,
Mohg.
he's on Mohg.
Yeah, he's talking about Mohg technically, but like he's just mentioning that the Outer Gods could potentially give Vergil some trouble based on like them scaling above everything in Elden Ring. But we don't have.
Well, go back to
Which one?
Go back to 10:30.
Okay.
In some aspects. This is mainly due to his Blood Boon, an incantation.
Okay, so we're on the Blood Boon, I'm assuming is what you want to hear?
Yes.
Okay. What about it?
Yeah, I'm just hearing what
Yeah.
Oh, so he's mentioning the Outer Gods, and he brings up the Primordials from God of War as an example of something that's not typically physical.
In the lands between, in kind of roundabout ways.
Which is kind of ironic because the Primordials actually are very physical because it's their bodies that create.
These Outer Gods far surpass anything actually.
Yeah, so we can talk about it right now. So technically, if he's making an argument of even their particular scaling, that doesn't matter because the non-physical aspect is like irrelevant. All demons in the series are abstract objects. They don't exist as traditional physical forms. They are all conceptual beings, and we have statements that they are metaphysical across the series. So like every minor demon in the series has an abstract state in the same way that you are interpreting the Primordials and the Elder Gods in these respective verses to exist. And similar to those verses, they also predate the entire universe, as they don't belong naturally in the human world, and they belong to a higher realm that is the demon world. So they are literally at the same level of the same concepts. So it kind of doesn't matter that like what this blood ability would just be a normal blood manipulation ability to hurt his body, which he also has resistances to those too, because he can resist the Qlipoth and the Qlipoth roots, as well as like but
yes.
Yeah, that was always good because Faust. I was actually gonna say Faust is worse because Faust is a demon that manipulates the blood orbs in other demons' bodies. And those demons not only aren't affected by the Qlipoth can't really take their blood, but Faust can. Faust can like directly extract the blood out of their body, but he can't do it to Dante and Vergil. So this spell wouldn't work because we have higher forms of blood manipulation that are made of the same kinds of properties in DMC.
Yes, but even if it could hurt Vergil, it's not. It doesn't cancel out healing factors or anything, so it wouldn't matter.
Yeah, even if it could, he would just heal from it, and it would actually, if anything, would just make him stronger because he would have just gotten pain, and he also would have to regenerate that damage and pump more blood into his body, which would give him more demonic power.
Yes.
So it would be an advantage.
To the likes of Vergil, but considering this is the only thing he would have to look out for, and Vergil does have ways to fight without actually getting tagged by this specific blood attack, I think it's safe to say he could work around this, whether by leading with his doppelganger, using Mirage Swords that he can fling away, or just fly around with his Sin Devil trigger for beating up Mohg and staying away from this one blood attack that might be remotely threatening. This type of approach to battle just isn't really too threatening to Vergil, even if a specific attack could be.
So I want to point out that even if okay, so I know he's pointing out like this one specific blood attack, and yes, I do agree. The one specific blood attack in this case is the only thing Mohg has going for him, even though it shouldn't work at all.
Yes.
But one thing I want to point out about Vergil is that Vergil in canon, his main approach to combat is judgment cutting you. So if you're going to talk about him in a matchup, you have to discuss how his kit works and what his direct approach is. And he just goes straight for the kill, and he judgment cuts you. So if we go by what judgment cut is defined to be, is you've provided the statements, they are slashes that cut through dimensions themselves, space-time. We have examples of them cutting through dreams, people's souls, splitting energy, cutting off the demon world, sealing things. They can basically cut anything and everything. They're literally stated to cut through anything twice as well. So he's just going to activate Judgment Cut and just slice through Mog. So unless Mog has pretty significant resistances to those kinds of abilities, he's just going to get one shot in like a single attack.
Spoiler warning,
and Vergil does
have resistances.
I was going to say that Judgment Cut is also not one slice. Each of the Judgment Cuts is about 8 to 10 slices, and that's if he Judgment Cuts you one time. He usually Judgment Cuts you like 3 or 4 times at a time, which is like, give or take, 36 to like 48 slashes that are cutting through space and time. So you're probably not going to be alive after a single exchange. I just had to mention that. Like, by default, that is how Vergil approaches combat. Is just Judgment Cuts you immediately.
Right. Let us continue.
Of attacks or demigods that could be threatening to Vergil, I want to talk about Malenia, the Blade of Mikola. Now, I do think Malenia
Okay, so we're just going to Malenia straight at 1134. Okay, wild.
Well, wait, what about all the other... I mean, I know we discussed Rykard, but like, what about Renala? What about... do we even talk about Radahn?
I think I guess you just go in order of potential threats to Vergil then, because he said another one that might pose a threat. So let's see.
A similar caliber to
Bro,
this is derived off Ron.
Was Radahn only there for Cosmic Feet?
Vergil, even if a specific attack could be. Speaking of attacks or demigods that could be threatening to Vergil, I want to talk about Malenia, the Blade of Mikola. Now, I do think Malenia is of a similar caliber to Radahn. This is derived off Ronnie, an unbiased source who narrates the Elden Ring story trailer, who notes, the Star Scourge hero, General Radahn, the Blade of Mikola, Malenia the Severed, the two who were the strongest. They fought in the end, and finally nobody won. So it actually refers to Malenia as the strongest alongside Radahn. A lot of people will point to the talisman that I brought up earlier in the video. However, the Japanese translation actually notes Radahn as the demigod who was said to be the strongest hero, challenging a falling star alone. Even if you maintain from Radahn and Malenia fighting that you have Radahn greater, the two should just be comparable in strength.
Okay, so to clarify, so talking about how Elden Ring characters fight for a bit, they're very grounded characters and who use swords and stuff of that nature. Radahn's holding back the stars during his fight with Melania on top of other shenanigans. So he's just using his swords to fight her. And she still has to fucking nuke him with the basically mutual destruction card.
She has the entire Scarlet Rot goddess behind her. And Scarlet Rot is just like the worst possible like decaying corruption virus out there. They point out in the descriptions for Radahn, the only reason Radahn's even around is because of his Great Rune. Because his Great Rune is keeping him alive to prevent the Scarlet Rot from fully killing him. If he didn't have that, he would have died completely. So the Scarlet Rot is insanely dangerous. She doesn't need to scale to him in terms of like the stats, because that specific ability is absurd in the world of Elden Ring.
Also, to clarify, while he says that Ronnie is an unbiased source when she's talking about the fight, does Ronnie ever even see the fight? Because if she was there, she would have been hit by the Scarlet Rot.
We're never given that information, at least not in the main game.
And pretending one is an entire tier above the other is just ridiculous. Dialing this back to the discussion, though, Vergil will have to deal with Scar.
Oh, even was an entire tier above the other is ridiculous. They literally fight with swords the whole time, and she has to fucking nuke him with an Elder God's power.
It's not ridiculous at all, because technically you can have characters in the same verse be above each other. It doesn't matter if they're even classified as the same type of being. They can still be different tiers if you have enough evidence to prove why. And we do, because she is, like, while you call her Malenia the Blades Woman, she also has another name, Malenia of the Scarlet Rot. That is her name. She's known for using Scarlet Rot.
To be clear, she doesn't have to be equal to him in AP to fight him. She just has to be comparable in speed to use her abilities to hurt him.
She's also a very fast, agile fighter that spends most of her time dodging and doing parries. So she actually doesn't even need to fight him. She could literally just no-hit him by like running and dodging around. And there's very little he could do to trap her.
So, look, if you want to say they're comparable to each other, fine. But technically, if you really want to break this fight down, you can make a valid argument that she wouldn't scale to his higher end AP to begin with, unless you just go with the Scarlet Rot fucking attacks.
Yeah.
It's fine. Again, it's fine if you want to scale them comparable. It's not a big deal. It's just that I feel like that position's a little more arguable than what he's giving credit for.
It is way more arguable because even when Radon is still dying during the main game and he's lost everything, he's still holding back the stars. He's never stopped holding back the stars at any given point. Most of his energy is concentrated on that.
Imagine being proud and like talking about a victory with the guy who's holding back the entire fucking cosmos.
Well, so it's the problem is that you basically have to prove they can output more power or comparable power to Radon to what Radon is doing to the stars. But you can't do that without a statement. Like a direct statement. That's impossible to claim that.
Elements of the outer god.
Okay, so now he's talking about Scarlet Rot, continuing forward. 1220.
That eats away at life itself. The Sage Gowrie, a dedicated follower to the Order of Ra and having a cult-like understanding of it, stated that it's incurable, and even demigods, despite their nigh divinity, couldn't really stave off its effects, and that Miquella's unalloyed golden needle can ameliorate and not inherently cure it. This creates kind of an interesting situation, because Dante in the past has dealt with different kinds of poisons, along with him being notorious for his regeneration abilities. Someone like Nero was absorbed on a mental, physical, and spiritual level by the Savior, becoming one with it.
Well, okay. He said Nero was observed in a mental, spiritual, and physical level.
You cut out for me.
Did you hear what he said about Nero or no?
Yeah, I did. I was actually going to say, why is he using this translation to Deadly Fortune? Go. It's the first one. Go use the second
Back
one.
To life.
It's
so
cleaner.
An interesting situation to see how Vergil would deal with Scarlet Rot as an affliction. There's a couple different interpretations. One is that Vergil retroactively evolves.
Also, to clarify, the Savior, I believe, also absorbed him conceptually as well. I don't think it was just...
Okay, so I'll just have to be this guy that says this here. Souls, by their very nature, by what we define to be conceptual object, are just conceptual objects. Because they aren't physical and they embody something else. That's all a soul is. It's a philosophical concept. We don't have proof of it existing in the physical reality. But if you really wanna get technical, yes, we can prove that the DMC souls and the souls of DMC are also conceptual because they can basically create life from nothing. They predate reality. They only embody other objects. And the Savior is made entirely up. He's made up entirely of demonic power and demon souls and their bodies crushed up and put into a statue. And when he absorbs anything, he just absorbs everything that you are. Your body, your soul, literally everything. So if Nero came back from that, that's basically like high godly regeneration. Like everything that he is was absorbed.
All right.
But
let's continue.
Yeah, he's talking about how Vergil can now deal with Scarlet Rot.
Dante adapted to the hazardous environment of the demon world in his base form. This is something that kind of applies to everything in this video, but Vergil and Dante are able to evolve to counteract pretty much anything they come across in their own series, an example being Time Stop itself, as Neo Angelo, who is just Vergil being controlled by Mundus, was able to overcome it in the third fight after outputting more power. This is a bit more vague.
No, okay, so to clarify, regarding the Time Stop in DMC1, I believe Neo Angelo is not the only one who resists Time Stop. I believe Mundus's generals also have a similar Time Stop resistance.
Yes, so technically they do resist it as well. It's just it specifically has to do with the way your demonic power is being outputted. And the reason why Nello is being affected is because he's under mind control. So he's not able to exert his powers effectively. Once he breaks off the helm, he is, and it doesn't work on him.
Yes,
But that wasn't what I. Oh, go ahead.
Well, no. All I was going to point out is that there are more people in DMC1, other demons who are below Nello Angelo that demonstrate resistance to time stop.
Every single boss in the game, is aside from just the first two and Nello Angelo fights, are immune to time stop. Which, to be clear, that's not a normal time stop, actually, because we see in DMC2, as well as in other DMC games, that when the demon world shows up, time not only warps, it actually stops in DMC2 all across the universe, and demons are not affected by it. So the bangle of time isn't like technically a normal time stop. It's like a higher, more advanced time stop. And that doesn't work on the generals.
Yes.
So he's correct about the evolving thing, but I would point out that they wouldn't need to evolve because they just wouldn't be affected by life-draining ability. We have examples of them resisting things of that nature in the case of the demon world, because the demon worlds can drain away your life and your stamina, and it just uses pure demonic energy. So it can directly attack like your existence itself. So it doesn't really need like Dante, while he can adapt, he's already shown he could resist the same type of ability by the weakest points in the timeline, which is volume. This Vergil we're talking about would be hypothetically post DMC5. So he has like way more demonic power, which also means higher resistances. So yeah, we can continue.
We can continue. Are you sure? Are you satisfied? All right. Are you satisfied? Okay.
Yeah. It's fine.
However, and I don't want to undersell Scarlet Rot because it is pretty ridiculous. There is also the idea of fire being used to cleanse the Scarlet Rot. This is being derived off the incantation Flame Cleanse Me, where the tarnish creates a flame within that burns away toxins, with other showings to counteract Scarlet Rot being the survivor of Radon's battalion employ fire to stave off Scarlet Rot. This fire point is relevant since Vergil and Dante do incorporate fire into a lot of their arsenals. Dante, for example, utilizes the Balrog, who is
So to clarify with Scarlet Rot, as far as we know, Scarlet Rot only affects physical, like your physical body, and that's it. But it also only affects characters who don't have canonical healing factors, as far as we can tell. So there's also the possibility that you can just chop off whatever like parts of the Scarlet Rot are rotted, and you'll just heal back normal limbs. I don't think they ever go into detail about like a healing factor because there's not any in the game.
Plus, we have examples, like I said, of the demon world and things in DMC having life forms of basically like life manipulation and corruption and corrosion, which is what the Scarlet Rot ultimately is. If we were just to break it down, that's the type of ability it is, and they resist that in full. And technically, Dante and Vergil don't resist it. Every basic demon in the demon world does, because they live in the demon world, and that is what the demon world does to you if you're around enough demonic energy.
Yes, because it's also worth noting that he hasn't mentioned how the demon world passively just corrupts people substantially as well.
He hasn't really explained that technically all of the side effects of what the demon world does, that's just demonic energy doing that to you by being near you. So if you have demonic energy, you have to resist it by proxy. It's like basically saying I'm taking a certain amount of voltage of electricity into my body. I have to be capable of surviving that, or I'm going to get electrocuted. Especially if the amount is enough to kill me.
All right.
World called
Let's
Fire.
continue.
Hell, after Burial was defeated, who Dante defeated in DMC4, most likely interpretation, at least that I see, is that Vergil's Sin Devil Trigger operates as somewhat of a self-incantation, similar to the Flame Cleanse Me. Dante's Devil Trigger is noted to give him an extreme healing boost, along with igniting his body ablaze. Similarly with Vergil, both of these two are just on fire in their Devil Trigger forms, so I think there is a case to be made that if Scarlet Rot was threatening to the likes of base Vergil, his Sin Devil Trigger would operate as almost a flame incantation as cited earlier, as he's just shooting blue flames out of his entire body. I mean, it's literally coming out of his skull, you know? Characters like Morgott aren't really going to be pressuring Vergil in any capacity. Yes, Morgott could defeat a younger and less experienced Radon. I go off the interpretation that Radon is most likely weaker just due to how his size is much smaller compared to when we see him in-game or in later cutscenes. So I don't even think this is a full power Radon, and I don't really think Morgott offers too much that Vergil really wouldn't be able to deal with. All of his attacks would just get counteracted by Vergil's own Mirage Blades, and again, the Yamato is just insane weaponry at this point that would just be very effective against the likes of Morgoth. This will segue us into other characters who Vergil may struggle with. That
I kind of find it funny.
Dragon Lord Placidusax.
So sorry. I kind of find it funny that he points out he's insane weaponry, but he hasn't classified what the Yamato technically is. He's given us descriptions, but like when you say a weapon is like insane, you need to be like, by the way, guys, this is classified as durability negation or something. So we need to look down the list and see who is resistant to durability negation. Just to point out, and then if they don't pass the check, they don't get to live. It's that simple.
Well, I mean, like, I guess this is a more in-depth discussion of a video that should really just say, or that could just say more accurately, that Vergil just swings his sword and kills every boss in Elden Ring in one swing. Because I don't think anyone in Elden Ring resists Vergil's.
I know, but like technically, he can still talk about all the abilities regardless. I think talking about them is still something that should be warranted. I would just point out that if you're going to say it's insane weaponry and you're going to have all these statements, you should probably classify what the weapon is. Because it basically means we're spending 20 minutes beating around the bush.
Struggle with that being the.
I also find it funny that, again, all this Punishing Gray Raven footage, but not a single piece of POC footage from, like, the actual mobile game.
Not a single scan.
Lord Placidusax. In the prehistoric era, before the age of the Erd Tree, the world was ruled by ancient dragons. Above all of them was Placidusax, a many-headed ancient dragon who ruled as Elden Lord. His remembrance reads as follows. The Dragon Lord whose seat lies at the heart of the storm beyond time is said to have been an Elden Lord.
Okay.
In the age before the Earth. Yes. The standout here is that Placidusax lies at the heart of a storm beyond time. Now, before we get carried away, I should...
Wait. Hold on. So, the English version says beyond time, but the direct translation says he's just in the chasm of time.
Yeah,
why are we using the English version this time?
Yeah, I mean, technically, that's not uncommon for the English version to have the better statements because it is made with knowledge of the Japanese version, so they have to add more information to usually make it like more informative. Though that's technically not always true because this is a Firm Software game and they don't do a proper job of explaining their lore ever when they make Souls games.
The heart of the storm beyond time is said to have been an Elden Lord in the age before the Erd Tree. The standout here is that Placidusax lies at the heart of a storm beyond time. Now, before we get carried away, I should make note that the Japanese version differs a bit, noting the Dragon Lord who sits at the center of the storm in the chasm of time. Technically, both are saying something similar in essence, but in terms of using this as a definitive feat for Placidusax being beyond the concept of time, as some measurement for how fast Placidusax is in terms of speed, isn't really all that solid, even if I did go with that former interpretation that...
Okay, so I'm just gonna, like, okay, so he's basically saying there's differences, which is, okay, good, but why are we even bringing up the English version if you have insisted throughout the entire video to just use the Japanese raw?
Oh, he actually has the, I'll go a little bit further and you'll see one of the scans I mentioned earlier.
Beyond the concept of time. This isn't really an issue for Vergil, as Dante has traversed into realms similar. As Dante has just noted in Devil May Cry 1 to enter a temple that is diverged from the flow of time.
Oh, it's funny. He uses the Kaizo Shincho you were talking about.
It's no, this is Precious Tears.
Oh, this is Precious Tears.
Technically, it's the same thing because on the next page after this, they describe the size of the universe he makes. So I mentioned both of those games.
Kind of similar to the Placidusax just existing in a chasm beyond time, or you can look at Mundus in the DMC1 novel, remarking he's free from the flow of time itself. The idea of combating it.
Okay, so to clarify,
or you can look at
the Mundus in that novel, I believe, is from DMC2's novel, if I'm not mistaken.
It is from the Volume 2. Yes.
Oh, okay, Volume 2.
Are you gonna continue, or do I get to talk about that? I think it's better to let him continue because I'll eventually have to talk about what he's referring to because he's probably going to bring up immeasurable speed. If he doesn't, I will.
The idea of combating an entity who exists in a realm without time itself or beyond time presents no issues for the Son of Sparta, again, giving him the more generous interpretation and not going with the actual translation or in the Japanese. We also have to touch on the fact that Placidusax's body is covered in ancient dragon smithing stones, which are noted to be able to forge god-slaying weapons. Imagine Vergil grabs a couple of these and just upgrades the Yamato to +10, you know, how does that even happen? But even on this ancient dragon smithing stone, it is a similar note with Placidusax's remembrance. It is said that the ancient dragon lord sits in the chasm of time versus the English translation, where he is said to be beyond time. With these stones that Placidusax is covered in, or his entire body is composed of, slightly distorting time itself.
Same old phone?
Oh, hang on.
Nah. Upgrade.
Go on, ad. Got a second ad. There you go.
Again, shouldn't really be too much of an issue since Vergil can just cut through time and space with the Yamato, so I can't see these stones offering a defense against Vergil's arsenal or Placidusax's lore against Vergil himself in this situation. Probably the biggest threat on this list is Malik.
Okay, so he didn't bring it up then. Okay. I have to point it out. So technically speaking, we have statements that demonic energy from the weapon master wheels in DMC3, as well as like several other statements like the Chrono Gear, like Garian's descriptions, and a number of other descriptions in the series, as well as POC, which he's not using, but I'm going to mention it regardless. We have statements that demonic energy is stated to transcend time, like the basic demonic energy that's flowing out of Vergil's sword and all demons and the entire demon world in the series. Like the entire demon world is made out of an energy source that transcends time. And the context for that is that when you use this device, you're capable of sending objects backwards and forwards in time. So the context for transcendence is that you can just go beyond the linear flow of time. You can go backwards and forwards. You can go in any direction you wish completely. You're unbound by the linear flow of time. So that would essentially be what I hear a lot of people arguing for Placidusax. I can't remember his name. The ancient dragon in the first Elden War. So the thing is that I agree with the premise that he's making for Placidusax not being in an area beyond time because of the way it's presented in the game. What are you saying?
No.
Zen, what's happening?
Yeah. Hang on, Mangler. Sorry, I got a call. I'll be right back.
Okay. All right. He'll be back in a bit. I'll just keep talking then. So basically, the issue with Placidusax, insofar as like how it's concerning speed, is that the area that you're in, it is never elaborated as to how it exists with respect to the flow of time. In the demon world, we are given statements that it basically exists beyond the river Styx, also known as the river time, which is just a temporal river leading out of the space-time continuum of the human world all the way to the demon. And when you get to the demon world, it is covered in that energy source that I mentioned, transcends time entirely. So Placidusax, if you're going by what it states, I mean, if you go by the Japanese version, it just says it's in an area, the chasm of time. The cutscene before indicates that when you sit down in like the sand pile, you just get time just gets reverted as you get moved into there. The official translation just says it lies beyond time. If you don't have context for how something is beyond time or beyond something, that just typically means it's kind of outside of it or abject from it. In proving, why I'm mentioning all this is that in proving immeasurable speed, which is specifically why he's bringing this up, as if you use people being faster than the flow of time as a speed thing that would grant them immeasurable, the only way you can prove something is immeasurable is that you have to prove you are superior to time. You have to prove you are stronger and faster than time itself to be immeasurable. We can do that in DMC. We can prove that the basic energy source that makes up like every single demon is faster and stronger than time.
I'm back.
And certainly Vergil at this point. Certainly Vergil at this point we can prove is faster and stronger than time. We can prove that. We don't have context for Placidusax, the ancient dragon. We don't have context for what transcending time means other than being outside the cycle of it. And even if he was technically superior to time, it wouldn't matter because you can argue not just Vergil, you can argue any person that has demonic energy is superior to the flow of time. So I know he's not arguing that. I'm just bringing that up because he brought it up, and it's something that needs to be addressed. Technically, anything in the demon world by default is immeasurable, but because of how time exists in the demon world, and because of this relationship to time.
All right.
So now he's bringing up Malekith.
Shall I continue?
Who quite
Yes,
literally
we shall
wields the
continue.
concept of death itself using the black flames, which are powered by the rune of death. It's kind of weird to suggest, but Malekith is quite literally wielding the concept of death itself. Let me explain. In Elden Ring, the Elden Ring itself isn't actually a physical ring. Hidetaka Miyazaki remarks the Elden Ring as the name given to mysterious concepts that define the world itself, represented as a representation of something metaphysical in nature being regarded more so as an abstraction. This is consistent through most interpretations of Elden Ring or the statements made about the Elden Ring. For example, in the overture of Elden Ring, it's actually noted the laws of this world are in disarray in the Japanese version, compared to the English version, which notes the ground itself begins to warp. So via utilizing the rune of death, Malekith is quite literally, again, wielding death itself. How does Vergil interact with this? Well, the idea of something metaphysical isn't inherently new to the verse of Devil May Cry, as, for example, V in Devil May Cry 5 battles against 3 metaphysical beings, that being Mirage Artemis, Mirage Goliath, and Mirage Angelo, all 3 being noted to be weaker than the originals. All 3 described as metaphysical, infernal phantasms. Metaphysical, as I've been throwing that word around a lot, refers to the study of abstract concepts beyond the realm of physical science, such as existence, knowledge, and the nature of reality itself. It essentially just goes beyond what we can directly experience or observe. Now, does this mean that all metaphysical concepts are exactly equal? No, of course not. Malekith, in this case, is able to bring death to the physical and spiritual aspects of existence, this being noted on the curse mark of death, as Rani was the first of the demigods whose flesh perished, while the prince of death perished in soul alone, that being Godwyn. Malekith, at his core, is just wielding a severed law/principle, which is why this is overall so threatening, as it's working beyond physical stats. Now, with that being said, if you think Vergil is so much faster than Malekith that he could avoid any of these attacks that would induce instant death, then there really wouldn't be an issue. However, this is one of those fights where
Okay, so hold on a minute. I understand that we're trying to stick more to lore versus gameplay. I respect that, but let's not pretend Malekith is throwing out insta kills with every swing unless you genuinely believe the Tarnished 1v1'd him without getting hit at any point.
I'm more so gonna say that he's kind of implying Vergil would die to the concept of death. So, as I've already explained, I know everyone brings up the metaphysical phantoms because they think, oh, these demons are metaphysical, but not all demons. No. The demons are just stated to be spirits. They are abstract beings. They don't have a physical body. They exist as concepts. Like, there are demons that are born from emotions that sit on, like, the spare emotions left in a theater scratched into the side of a mask. They have an entire soul and life born from that. There are demons that are born from, like, the basic hatred of someone. The bronze bull from DMC2, Furitaris, is just a torture device. It's an inanimate object, and it turned into a demon after enough people were tortured in it. So, like, demons in DMC are just metaphysical beings. And they predate reality, as in, like, the human world, the entire universe. They come from a completely different dimension. So, like, all that you can say for Malekith is that what his ability is a type 2 concept, because it's the concept of death in Elden Ring. That's just a concept that affects all of reality. Meaning, if you have a concept that is at the same level or higher, then as long as you can resist that specific type of ability at that level, it won't do anything to you. And demons come from the demon world, which predates reality. So that's a completely different level of concept that is higher than one that governs all of reality. Plus, the Beast Heads already has statements that confirm that demonic energy, and just the Beast Heads itself, causes death to people. They can rob life from the world and just cause instant death. The Volume 2 novel, the MC2's novel that he mentioned,
Yes.
Since he's so fond of the Japanese translation, so in the Japanese translation, they actually have, like, more information that wasn't in the official. which confirms that when Trish, the alternate timeline Trish, shows up with all of her clones to fight Mundus's generals in the alternate timeline, she actually has weapons that, because she's using Alistair. When Alistair like pokes most of the demons, they point out that their attacks actually cause insta-death to them. And that is just something that they do. That ability doesn't work on Dante when he fights that Trish. And to be clear, as I said before, insta-death, like abstract forms of instant death, don't work on demons in general. But that ability is designed to kill demons, and that doesn't work on Dante. The Vergil we're talking about is much stronger than Volume 2 Dante. So not only would you need the concept of death on a scale that's above all of reality, you would need a higher form of it to affect a much weaker version of Vergil. just to point out. So even if it could hit him, it's just going to be a normal attack. It's not really going to do anything. And like Zim said, it is a little weird to assume he would go for the insta-kill, because technically, if we want to be accurate here, Malekith doesn't actually do that in the game. So what happens is that you go into the boss room, and he's wearing the Gravedigger outfit, because he's basically shuttered his entire body up with a huge cloth, like he's basically ashamed. And then after you do about half damage to his health, he takes off the cloth. And then he stabs his own hand with his blade and draws it out.
I actually completely forgot that, yeah, you're absolutely right. He doesn't even use Destined Death until the second half of the fight. There's a whole portion of the fight where he's just dressed around using fucking earth magic, basically.
Because the ability is sealed inside him, and he has to awaken it, or at least unlock it, by stabbing himself. So if he dies before that happens, before he brings out Destined Death, then he can't use Destined Death. Should be pretty self-explanatory.
Also,
and as we mentioned, Vergil typically just judgment cuts you.
Even if you assume, let's say that he doesn't die because Death's still locked within him, he has to unlock it. I mean, he's probably just going to be a paraplegic by the time he starts trying to unlock it.
I would actually just argue Vergil could kill him, because Vergil can kill. We have our own forms of death. We literally have, like, the Hell Vanguard, who is just, one god of death. Vergil killed him at the beginning of DMC3. He's the guy that governs the souls that go to the underworld. Vergil killed him with, like, a single strike at the beginning of DMC3. So it's not. I don't think Malekith's going to be a problem.
Yeah. Issue. However, this is one of those fights where there's no real capacity for error, as he's dealing with something far beyond what he normally deals with, even in his own universe. Moving beyond.
Deals something far beyond what he normally deals with, even in his own universe.
I just refer to everything I just said. There's nothing at this point in Elden Ring, there is nothing that is even remotely beyond basic demons in the series.
On this, we have the Elden Beast itself. Long ago, the Greater Will sent a golden star bearing a beast into the lands between, which would later become the Elden Ring.
Love was nearly lost until
got a Pizza Hut ad.
Yeah. Well, while you're also talking about pizza, I was going to say that saying that he would have to have the capacity for error, no capacity for error. Well, the thing is that even if we put aside everything we just said, Vergil is specifically a mobile fighter that just spends most of his time teleporting around and constantly, like, avoiding people's attacks. He's an extremely mobile person. So he's probably just going to no-hit you. There's no reason for us to believe you're going to be able to hit him at all. Even assuming he doesn't just judgment cut you. He's extremely mobile, and he has instant one-hit kill moves that he can fire at you from anywhere.
It's also worth noting that even if you go with the positions provided in this video, there's more arguments for DMC being way higher in the light speed in this video than there is for Elden Ring being light speed, like, just in general. So it's not Vergil's playing the game in slow motion, like everyone's moving in slow motion in comparison to him, just by what's given in the video.
Yeah, we didn't even get into infinite speed or any of those other things, but I was just going to say, like, there's no, even if we say they're equal speed, Like, they're completely equalized. There's no reason to believe Vergil's going to get hit by those attacks because he doesn't let himself get hit.
All right, let us continue.
Quite literally the living incarnation of the concept of order. Now, in terms of general scaling, Elden Ring hasn't been quite up to par. I think one of the higher interpretations for Elden Ring are these universal levels of strength. This being derived off Renala, Queen of the Full Moon. We see after we defeat Renala in the first phase, she begins to get powered up or empowered by Ranni the Witch, her daughter, and
This is an avatar Spectre Ryan creates. I'm a
the most
spoke here.
powerful sorceress in Elden Ring. In the second phase, on top of us fighting Renala, who's being powered by Ranni's magic, Ranni seemingly conjures an entire pocket universe in the boss fight itself, this being similar to what the Elden Beast does in its boss fight against you, spawning multiple Erd trees holding up the universe itself. I think the idea is that Ranni did create a legitimate universe, at least in her feat or of the tarnished boss fight with Renala. If you look at the CG world statement that notes, the director proposed a motif for Glintstone Sorcery's worldview. I want the universe.
Oh, okay, all right. I want the universe within magic. A dark core-like element was added to represent the cosmos, and meteor-like particles were incorporated to the projectile's head to complete the impression. It became sharper and visibility improved. So this isn't even referring to her ability, but are we making the claim now that every projectile has a universe within it?
Within magic. This whole segment is noted by lead visual FX and UI artist Hirokazu Akino, who is directly referencing Hidetaka Miyazaki, the director of Elden Ring, in terms of him wanting a universe within magic. So there is a clear intention to make these types of spells universe-like, which adds to the credibility of this being a universal feat. So the Elden Ring universe does have a segue into these universal levels of strength. Is that inherently enough to put him over Vergil? I'd like to go back to my earlier assessment of
Okay. I mean, if you believe that's fine for Universal, that's fine. I'm just going to say, feels a little weird. We're acting like Moon, this is contentious when that one's not even talking about the same scene in question.
Yeah, so that one isn't even directly talking about the creation of a universe. It's talking about a statement from a writer about how he visually wants to depict some artistic value within the spell. If we're taking that as a literal extrapolation of the universe, we have a direct statement in Precious Tears that Mundus creates an infinite dark sky. So I don't think there's really any like debate there. And that's just like one feat. We have examples of Argosax just pushing the demon world into the human world, and time stops over the entire universe. He also tries to merge both of them. Mundus has also tried to merge both of them as well. And the only reason they're ever stopped is because, or the only reason they ever fail to perform the feat completely is because someone kills them before it finishes while they're doing it.
Like so it's fine. I'm just saying it's a little weird, but let's continue. We have about a minute left.
Vergil and his universal levels of strength and going beyond, because even though I mentioned all of this, what I neglected to mention is that the demon world itself is actually comprised of multiple realms and dimensions within the world itself. An example of this being
Okay, so
this should have been mentioned at the beginning. I get that you neglected it, but that means he wrote a script this way to talk about it later. You should probably lead with that. You can bring it up later. But
I don't understand why, because it's a common thing I've seen in power scaling videos. Is there like a tip sheet somewhere that says leave important information until the very end? Is this like a death battle thing where death battle leaves out context and feats that make it way stronger for the like end of the fight to talk about why their verdict makes more sense?
I don't think the art of leading people on is a great way to go about presenting it, because it's not like we wouldn't find it entertaining. This is a well-edited video. Yes. I was already entertained by the way this is set up. This is a good video. You just got to rearrange where you put some of the information, and it's golden. I don't understand why it's like, well, something I forgot to mention. It's like, well, I don't know if you did neglect to mention, because presumably you wrote a script, which would mean this is here. It didn't just spawn itself into existence.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's fine. Again, the video is good. Like Mangler said, it is a good video. I just don't understand why so many power scaling videos insist on leaving out important information for the very end, especially in this video, because we're not even really entertaining the idea that Vergil's struggling through it. This video has been very clearly on the side that Vergil's clearing most of Elden Ring with ease.
And in the weirdest way, too, because it implies Vergil can go through it But all the way up until that conclusion, it's like, well, maybe they actually have something. Actually, no, he just destroys them. I'm like, well, maybe it'd be better to word it like this is just like their specific unique power dimension. Does it stack up? Probably not, or maybe it does. It's not really as clear as it should be, I think.
It's just weird. It's not a bad thing. It's just weird.
The mirror world that reflects the human world itself and is the entrance to the demon world.
Oh, okay, we're using the mirror world, all right.
This basically being a copied version of the human world, yet is only a small fraction of the demon realm, serving as a bit of an entrance into Mallet Island. This being noted to reflect the human world entirely and is also noted to have its own space-time continuum. Or you have places like the Void in DMC5 where we enter a pocket dimension in the demon world where we train, which is also noted to be an infinite abyss, along with being the place that abyss demons are born. So even if Elden Ring does approach retrain time continuum. Or you have places like the Void in DMC5 where we enter a pocket dimension.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Mangler, but are Abyss Demons directly stated to appear from the Void from DMC5, or is he just assuming that based on like the same naming
There
convention?
is a statement from, I don't know why he didn't provide it. It's weird, but there is a statement in the Japanese version of the DMC3 guide for the Abyss Demons, which state they come from the Void.
Okay.
There are some demons that do come out of the Void as well. I think there's also statements for Pluto coming out of the Void, but it's not common.
Well, that's fine. I just wanted to make sure on that one because I didn't recall them ever being stated to come from this Void. But if he's just making the connection based on the two places, the names, that's fine.
Oh no, he's just assuming the Void and the Endless Void are the same thing. Like, sure, whatever. I mean, it's the only Void we know of.
Train, which is also noted to be an infinite abyss, along with being the place that abyss demons are born. So even if Elden Ring does approach these universal levels of strength, Vergil is scaling to characters who can just destroy multiple universes comprised in the demon world itself, or characters who can split two universes in half. So he should scale safely above the universal metric that we posted for Elden Ring, that being one of the higher interpretations. So all in all, do I think Vergil could defeat Elden Ring? Yes, especially if he's empowering himself with these great runes, when you consider that a nameless Tarnished who was able to tackle down these demigods just off of gradually defeating and empowering himself throughout the game like Vergil would be doing. There's also the question of the DLC, but quite frankly,
I actually completely forgot he was empowering himself with the Elden Rings in this scenario. Or the Great Runes, my bad.
Yeah. No, because he never brings it up. He never even mentions what the Great Runes do. Which, granted, I mean, that's fine. It's not like he really needs them. It's just that, like, he mentions he's gonna do it, but we're also never told what the Great Runes even do in the video to give us a more, like, information about that scenario.
Pretty long, and there's only really one or two things to really discuss for the DLC, and I don't think any of the scaling there is necessarily groundbreaking to where it changes anything in this discussion, really. If you watched the whole video and enjoyed, huge thank you. I also have to give a huge shout out to your boy Rogue. He was instrumental in making sure my Elden Ring knowledge, or a lot of the arguments I presented here today, were up to date. He's the go-to guy for gaming scaling, so definitely head over there, link in the description for his channel. Show him some love. He will be uploading soon. But if you guys enjoyed the video, let me know. Do you guys agree, disagree, why? What would you add to this? I know this is
All right. Pretty good video.
Yeah, very well edited. Just a weird placing of some sections.
Kind of surprised. Weird. 500-ish likes. I thought would have had more. Okay.
Yeah.
Very solid video. Very solid video. Just some weird information placements here and there, and some lack of information in other areas, but nothing too crazy.
Yes.
So.
I don't have anything else to say.
All right, then we'll go ahead and call it there for a day. Thank you guys for your time as always. Have a nice day. I'll see you guys on the next stream or video. Take care, everybody. Have yourselves a nice night.